Hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are you doing tonight? Tonight is gonna be a really special stream because actually I'm about to spill the beans. Like, how am I able to achieve cinematic renders on a daily basis? Because what you need to do is understand the three pillars of making a cinematic render. But before I do that, just give me a second and boop. So coming to like the basics, what are those pillars? Well, to sum it all up, these pillars are fairly simple, fairly basic, but not a lot of people know about them. What are those pillars that we are talking about? I'm talking about the lighting, the atmosphere, and the camera angle. These are the sort of pillars that are a must have, regardless if you're doing product rendering, product photography, or product animations, or whatever you are doing. Hell, even you can make a whole film by using these basic tips. And what do I mean by that? Let me just share my screen and show you guys. So let's just switch over here. Okay, as you guys can see, let me just correct this because we are not going to be needing that today. So, what do I mean by the three pillars? So, as we can see over here in the lighting section, I already have some references gathered up for you guys. So, as we can see, the light is coming from multiple directions, but everything is coordinated. And why is this important? Because lights convey a certain emotion, and these can be the biggest selling point of your animations or even your renders. I mean, as much as you guys might remember when I did the woodboard animation, in that there were a lot of shots that people still praise to this day. And now in 2024, as I've released a couple of new animations, people are still praising them. Heck, I mean, just look at the Camaro one. If you haven't seen that, just go to my profile, you'll be able to see it. And I think this is a big enough reason that I'm spilling my whole experience and my whole career on this live stream for you guys to watch it, and also smash the like button as well as smash the subscribe button as well. But if you're watching it on Instagram, hey, a follow would be nice. So let's break down the lighting over here, especially with this one. As we can see, there are a lot of elements going around over here. And right now, as we can see, there there's a light that's actually highlighting our character over here. And there is also a backlight which is acting as the hair light. And why is this important? So that we could see the character, and also we could separate the character from the background as well. So now coming to like about the color. Why are there like two different colors? Because over here with warmth, they are actually trying to signify one thing, like happiness. And with the cold one, they are trying to signify sadness. So color theory also plays an important role over here, especially when it comes to lighting. But on the opposite hand, if we come over here, this is a far better example. Because over here we have different saturation levels of the lighting. So let's just look at this one. Obviously, the guy is saddened, but the environment around him is really warm. And how can we tell if he's saddened even if we hide the face just because of the blue light that he is getting on his face? Same goes to the previous one. While over here, we could see this guy is confident and he is ready to take on anything. And why is it so? Just because of the warm light. But yet again, this guy has a darker side. And how do we know that? Just because he is playing with the shadows. Now, same goes for over here. This can be like a good reveal, especially for like when you're introducing a new character or even if you're introducing your product for the first time. So, yeah. And obviously, this is like a mysterious shot. So, they chose this one. And now coming to the second big pillar, which is the atmosphere. Like, what sort of environment is it gonna be? Is it going to be foggy? Is it going to be clean? Is it going to be minimal? Does it, will it, have a lot of dust particles? Is it dusty? Is it clean? What sort of environment are we talking about? These things play a crucial role when it comes to making a 3D render, a 3D animation, or even a film. So, yeah, as we can see over here in this jungle shot, they added a lot of smoke. This can easily be a photograph, but hey, I mean, I've seen some crazy renders that you cannot define like, is it a 3D render or is it basically a photograph? But, anyways, now moving on to the second one. This is a shot from Blade Runner. And over here, what they actually did was they added yellow haze. And over here, the color theory comes into play again. And how does it come into play? Because over here, they used warm tones to signify sorrow and remorse. And coming to like the horror side, as we can see, they are playing with double atmosphere. Because over here, where we see the car, it's properly clear. We could identify and see everything easily. But if we go back to the background over here, especially with the mansion shot, it's all spooky, dark, and full of fog. Why is it so? Because they wanted to signify the emotion of unknown. Like you don't know what's inside of it, but those people are going to explore it. So, yeah, atmosphere plays a big role. And the biggest thing of all, the cheat code to getting the cinematic renders like that, which are God rays and dust. This is a really underutilized thing that not a lot of artists are doing at this moment. Now, coming to the third biggest thing. The third biggest thing. I know I'm going a bit too fast, but I'm just going through every single one because we are going to be doing it practically with the previous 3D render that we did yesterday. So let's just come over here to the camera angles. What do the camera angles signify? Well, if we're talking about a top down shot like this, we could say this product is relatable and this is down to earth. But yet again, when it comes to like a bottom to the top angle, something like this Adidas ones, it can signify supremacy, power, and also it could signify like this is larger than life. And if we come over here to the mid shot, what does this signify? I mean, I've taken this stream so far, so I would like you guys to type it in. And by the end of the stream, I'll reveal the answer. So, moving on. Now, I think we might have.
Also,
Wait,
they
when
can
did you
take
join, Osama?
notes. I was just taking notes. I was taking notes.
Okay. That was actually a jump scare for me. I was expecting I'm going to be doing this stream alone today.
I'm not gonna leave you alone, bro.
Hey, thanks, man. Let me just
Well,
take a
I'm just
sippy sip.
saying that you said that you were going too fast, but the thing is that any aspiring Blender artist would know that they gotta take notes now. Just
Oh, exactly.
pause this video,
No,
take
no,
notes.
no. Don't pause it. Bro, you're going to
I mean,
kill my stream time. You
I'm
could watch it
talking
later
about
on.
I'm talking about the later on, of course.
I mean, obviously, this is going to be live on YouTube, so I'm not going to be deleting this. Or am
Or
I?
are we? I mean, this can we might delete it later. We might delete it later. So to all of you, watch the stream in this entirety. Take notes. Because we might delete it anyway. You don't want to mess up your opportunities for learning the advanced stuff. Hassan.
Very well said. Very well said. But,
Yeah.
anyways, so Osama, over here, let me just recap everything. We discussed about lighting plus color theory, and then
Hmm.
we went to atmosphere, like how much does an atmosphere can affect your scene, and then we went to the camera angles. And over
Hmm.
here, I just explained it. Basically, it was the same thing that we did with advertisement psychology. If you remember that
Hmm.
series,
I remember. By the way, when are we
So,
going to drop the goodies that we
I
were working
mean,
on?
bro, let's just put it like this. Instead of making short reels, which do injustice, I think we should implement them into like a weekly 1 day live. What do you say about that?
That's great, but we were working on an ebook as well, if you remember.
Let's not open up all of the plans in one stream.
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
Ah,
Good thing just for the people who are sticking around to learn more stuff. Good things are coming up, man. Good things are coming up. So you want to
exactly.
subscribe and you want to turn on the notification bell because you do not want to miss out on any stuff that we will be dropping later on. You
Exactly.
know,
Exactly. So, like Osama said, smash the subscribe button and like this video. And
and
now
turn on the
moving
notification
on.
bell.
Exactly. And now, since we've broken down all of these three pillars, let's see how a practical example looks like. So, let me just minimize PureRef over here. And guys, if you have any sort of question, just type it in, or better yet, hey, join the Discord. Just come on the call, like Osama is over here. So, the link is already pinned. You can just go over there, verify yourself, pick a role, and boom, you'll be in the call. So, let's open up Blender Octane. I really need to getting used to this new monitor setup because whenever I open up Blender, instead of opening on my main monitor, it just goes like whoop on that monitor. Like, bro, for real. I'm on any moment now. Alrighty. So I think this is the one. Yep. No, that's the wrong file. So if we go over here and we go to our live section, guitar amp, let's open it up. So already we could see if I just put it on render view, we are capturing the basic principles over here. We have good lighting, we have a good environment, but what can be improved? So, Sama, what do you think can be improved over here
Where?
in this render?
In this render, what can be improved? I mean, what are you trying to show? That's that's the thing. There are multiple perspectives, of course. My
Mm,
opinion is very objective.
mm.
My opinion is very objective. But I mean, a little
Like,
birdie might
hmm,
have told you about God rays.
see, this is why you need to follow along. Osama is following along. Why aren't you? So, the simplest way that I've seen making God rays in Blender Octane, it's similar to cycles, but you might have not used it, or maybe you were a bit too afraid. But the legend goes you will have to add a cube over here first. And then, if we go into our shader editor, we'll have to add a new material, delete the universal one, and add in the null material. And let me just plug it in. As we can see, by adding the null material, it basically eliminates everything. It turns it to zero, basically, the opacity. So that's what we exactly wanted. Now, what we're going to be doing is going to be coming over here to the medium section, clicking on it, and where is it? Volume scatter. Yeah, volume medium. So now I'll just pick up the scattering and put it to 1. And the density is far too much. So I'll put it to 1, a bit less, zero point 0.1, zero point 0.5. Oh, sorry, 0.05, 0.001. Yep, that looks pretty good. And now what I'm going to be doing is taking this slide over here, keep instance power, and I'm going to be plugging in an RGB image. and I'll add in a gobo because a gobo will help out a lot in this situation. So,
How so? How so?
because basically what a gobo does, if I don't know, some if you are able to see my screen over here and the viewers, if you are able to see this as well, basically a gobo is like a light cutter. So as you can see over here, these black parts are gonna be holes and these white parts are gonna be solid. So that basically means when we're gonna be shining the light through them, it will automatically turn out with a shape. We could say it's like a light cookie cutter. So yeah, I'll go into forests and I'll use this and I'll plug it in into the distribution, UV transform, and boom. Legacy gamma should be at 1 and keep instance power. Box projection. Okay, box projection, and I'll plug it in over here just like that. And now as we can see, it's still a bit too dull. So I'll just bump it up, something like that. And I'll just GZ, take it back. And I think that did a big difference over here. So the only thing that I would do is rotate it a bit. And this is a trick that I learned from Gleb Alexandrov, where in his cinematic lighting course, he actually taught us like using the reverse key method is always beneficial. I mean, your product turns instantly like from being a normal product to being like super cinematic. And what is that technique? As you can see over here, placing the light right behind the product, getting a good edge light, and let the other lights do a little bit of tinkering with the product. But the majority of the light should be coming from the back. And over here, I also added in a gobo that actually escalated it a lot. But let's for say if we want to use over here a specific color, and I'm talking about a temperatured color, like the sun. So what are we going to be doing? We're going to be replacing the texture emission with the black body emission. So I'll show that as well. I'll just delete this and go to black body emission, plug it in into our emission, and plug our image into the distribution. And also, one important thing if you're using gobos, keep instance power. Just keep that in check. Believe me, you're going to be thanking me a lot after knowing that tip if you ever used gobos. So
Mhm.
I'll just increase this. And now what we need to do is see what does the Kelvin scale say about the sun temperature. So let's just come over here and go to Kelvin scale. So what is the Kelvin scale? It's basically this. Over here in our Discord, I actually made like a resource tab where people can come and see everything regarding like what is the Kelvin scale and how they can use it. But for now, you'll have to do with this because you're not in the Discord server. So
Join now.
link in the pin comments. So coming over here to our Kelvin scale, we could see starting from 1000 Kelvin, which is mostly used for like small fires like matchsticks, candle fires, those sort of things. We could go all the way up to 10,000 Kelvins, which is basically a blue sky. So for this situation, the most cinematic region is over here from 6,000 to like 3,000. So we'll have to play between these things just to get the most cinematic results. And as much as I've experienced, like 3500 to 4000 Kelvins always gives us the warm, moody look that a lot of people desires. What do I mean by that? Let's say 3700. This is the sort of look that I'm talking about. So, Sama, you see the difference?
Sure, I can.
Alrighty. Now, moving on to the next thing, which is basically gonna be, what do you guys call it? The atmosphere. And in that atmosphere, we are gonna be adding floating dust particles that will actually help you elevate your product to the next level. This is like the most simplest trick, but not everyone uses it. So let's just quickly do that. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking this box and I'm just going to be using this to emit our particles. So for that, I'll just put my 3D cursor on top over here, go Shift A, add in an icosphere, come down to the settings and put the subdivision levels to 1. And this is something really important. You don't want to fry up your CPU nor your GPU. So please keep the sub levels down. Anyways, I'll just save it. I'll make a new material, delete the universal one, add in a specular material, boop, and come down to fake shadows, effect alpha, and then where is our medium? Here it is. I'll just click over here and random walk it is. So just for the argument's sake, I'm going to be putting it over here for a second. So now I'm going to be tinkering around with it. The density should be 1. Yep. And the transmission color, I'll just keep it at white. IQR should be a bit more. And also, thin wall should be enabled. Allow caustics. Little bit of thin film. Now the thin film isn't looking good. Okay, that looks pretty good now. And now what I'm going to be doing is, you know what? Let's just make it a bit warm. Something to match the light. So I'll just put it back on top. Turn off the render view for a second. Grab our domain. Click it. Add in a new particle system. And then if I come down over here to rendering instead of halo, it should be object. I'll click it. Select the icosphere. Save. And I will make the cursor over here. Go to force field. And where is it? Turbulence. Here it is. Now coming to our particles over here. So I'll just go into wireframe mode. Particle count should be 20,000. I know this is a bit extreme, but for the look that we want to go for, this is like the best setting. And even before we do anything, let's just go into, where is it? Force field settings. No, force field weights. Yeah, turn off gravity. Really important. So let's just save it. And velocity -1 because we want it to come inside instead of going outside. So let's give it a play. So now we can see this is a bit too fast, but how can we control it with the normals? Instead of going -1, we could go minus 0.1. So it might take like a solid second to reach to the point where we want to take it, especially considering the size that we are working with over here. But there's an easy fix. Just put it over here like this and scale it down.
What if we post a before and after of, you know, when you are implementing everything that's right and when you haven't implementing everything that's right, you
That's
know,
actually a pretty good idea.
that will tell people, okay, hey, this is how you can create a difference.
So yeah, I mean, it's just clearing up right now, but as we can see, we got some specular highlights over here in the air, which basically means the dust particle system is working. And it's more so at this stage, like we have to experiment like which frame is looking good if you're taking like still images. But if we're talking about animations, we'll have to do it over and over again until we find the right thing, and we'll have to bake the animation. So there is no easy way of getting around this part. But this is like a one time thing. If you're done with this, you could always just take this node setup and just whoop, paste it anywhere you want. Okay, okay. So could also make it a bit rougher so it's more visible. Yep, something like that. Let's just save it. And now coming towards the blades. Like what blade count should you have in your camera? What settings you should always keep out while making this? So if we come down over here, our blade count is 6, which we want. So if I increase the aperture, I'm actually using a f-stop over here. Okay. If I go zero point 0.5 on my aperture, you'll see what I'm talking about. Because we basically want the bokeh to be a bit stretched, and we are somewhat getting that result over here, which is really crucial. And since we got into that topic, let's also talk about the depth of field. The depth of field is really, really important. And according to your lens, you should also research about what aperture should you be using. Because normally I use a 108 lens with a 1.8 f-stop, which you could easily find in like Sigma lenses and also in prime lenses. So that is like the most cinematic trick that I know in my book, and which has helped me to make amazing animations in the past as well as now. But let's say for artistic purposes, you want it to be a bit more blurry. So what are we going to be doing? We have two options. Either we could come over here and increase the focal length, but let's say if you made a set this big and you don't want to change the focal length because it's gonna be time consuming for you or like a big headache. So what you could easily do is reduce the f-stop. So 0.75, as we can see, that got us somewhere. So I think that's about it. The only thing that I would do over here would be take this and actually I'll just go to this one, copy, come over here, delete, paste, and where's the mission? Yeet. And just put it like this. So let me just go to my solid and let's render it out and see. And until that's rendering out, we could have like a quick comparison of what we have done so far.
By the
Okay,
way,
so
by the way, if you
hmm,
guys are watching this live stream Like after it has ended, we would really appreciate you guys to drop a comment and tell us how we can improve these live streams, because at the end of the day we are making these streams for you guys, and it will be sane and logical to get a feedback and know what different things we can do, what else can we create for you guys, and in general what different topics we should cover. And you can come on Discord server and drop down your content ideas. Maybe we can help you with
Exactly.
a tutorial, you know.
Exactly. So until that's rendering, let's have a quick comparison of what we did so far. So obviously, the lighting alone changed the whole thing. Sama, you watching the screen as well?
Yeah, I'm working on my
Oh,
my article right now, but okay, I'm watching it.
mm. So this was what we did yesterday, and just by changing the lighting, we got this. But yet again, I just noticed one error since we added in the depth of field. I forgot to turn off the autofocus, so it's focusing on this particle over here because it's focusing on this part. So let me just quickly fix that and we'll take out our final render.
We are already at that part, huh?
Exactly.
You have been fast, my friend. You have become fast.
That's what she said.
I mean, that what she should not have said, but okay.
Nah, I'm messing with you. Instead of
Where
rendering
is
it out.
she, by the way? Where is she?
Uh, I don't know. I don't know.
You don't want to know, or you don't?
I don't know. Like for real, I don't know. And I don't even care.
I'm talking about everyone else, you know,
Okay.
like where
Uh,
is Bacha, where is Azman, where is Ali, where is Shahir, where is Talha? Talha, I know he's sleeping, but where's everybody else?
man, no idea. Okay, so just a
I
quick
mean,
update. Hmm?
what? What?
Just a quick little update. I actually reduced the f-stop to zero point 0.9 just because of one reason, because the product was getting blurry. Whenever you're rendering out products or you're doing animation, keep one thing in mind. The product is the main focus. The product is the main focus. Don't screw it up. So let's just quickly render this out as well and let's compare it with all of the information that we have gathered so far in making cinematic renders. And also, ladies and gentlemen, if you want this exact project file to experiment with or learn how we do things over here, this is actually available in our Discord. So, right after the stream, I'm going to be packing everything up and putting it into the Discord. So, if you guys want it, you could just download it. So, just give it a sec. Until then, if you guys have any questions, hey, I'm more than happy to answer them. And also, I want to know your opinion. Like, if I'm doing streams like on a certain subject, like how to make your renders more cinematic, is this the sort of format that I should also carry around? Or should I just drop the idea? What do you say, Osama? I think he is not able to hear me. Anyways, I mean, you guys can type in. A denoising and boom. So as we can see with this product, we might have to increase the sample count a bit because right now we are getting a lot of glitches. But for like this example sakes, I'll just save it.
I'm
We
back.
do. Welcome back. So let's minimize it and go to pure ref again.
Oh,
By the way,
we
hmm
have some nice people. We have some nice people in the audience. Uh,
hmm
just to just to the member of the audience, are you lost, baby girl?
hmm. Good old days. Anyways, guys, as I was saying, this is a really important software if you're a 3D artist or you're an artist in general. You need to use PureRef for gathering up references. So let's just come down and compare the two images that we just exported. So,
And we have Ali with us on
hello,
the
Mr. Ali.
stage.
Walaikum assalam. So now if we put them side by side, we could see both of them are telling a different story. Both are following the same principles, but both have a different mood. The one is obviously a bit more minimal, but it's still cinematic, while the other one is too dramatic. So these are like two different approaches that you could also take to highlight your product. But yet again, it all depends on what sort of look you're going for. What is the client wanting from you? And what is the story that is you are trying to portray in your renders and animation? Speaking of stories, we could say there's going to be another stream like this where I'm going to be teaching you guys how to tell a story of your product as seen in a lot of my old animations, especially the woodboard one. So we're going to be learning how to do concepting, how to make a storyboard, and then how to execute that storyboard into a full-fledged commercial. So I think that's the biggest reason for you guys to subscribe. Or better yet, you might even find that in the upcoming free course on YouTube as well. But I think with that out of the way, we are done with today's topic. What do you say, Osama? I mean, we've covered all of the basics over here. We gotta keep some content for the course, right?
Oh hell yeah!
Exactly. So, the reason of making this short stream was one thing. I actually wanted to give you guys a little bit of a taste of what's gonna be coming in our free course in a couple of days. So, this was
But
basically. Hmm?
Hassan, that's a bit problematic. Why is that course free? You exactly know the amount of bucks we could get just from that course. I mean, like
I know.
each. I mean, it could go for $300 per piece, I suppose.
Exactly. It can.
It's pretty.
But,
It's
bro,
pretty extensive.
I know. But you know, Osama, there was a time in my life when I started out in 3D. I had no one that supported me and my career. But I don't want that happening to anyone anymore. I want them to learn, I want them to grow. And I don't even care about the money. I just care about people making a good living out of this. This is the reason I'm making that course free of cost because I want you, yeah, you, the person who's watching this, to make the exact quality renders that I'm able to make right now. So this one's for you guys. So yeah, Osama, that is like the reason I'm making it free.
That's a that's a good reason. I'm satisfied now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this stream got a bit emotional as well, but I think we have already covered up like the basic thing. But for like the intermediate and the advanced things, you'll have to wait for the course. But until then, God bless you all and your families. See you around, guys. Bye bye.
Assalamu alaikum.